Let's keep it rolling, guys. This is number 3 on the confidence ladder, and this one is belief. And so I'm going to just share some personal beliefs about this topic and kind of give you some examples as to why it's so important. And so, how does belief relate to confidence? I think a lot of you have an idea as to why, but again, I'm going to just share from my perspective, and I'll start up with this. I think if you have a belief in God and a belief that there is a higher power out there and that God is in control of your destiny, I think that gives great confidence into everything else that you're doing. There's something called the Serenity Prayer, and for me, I've done this and applied this to my life, and it's helped me tremendously. And so the Serenity Prayer, the first couple lines goes like this: God, grant me this serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so that's the first 3 lines of the prayer, and that alone for me did wonders. When I started to really understand that God is in control with the things that I can't change. There are some things that I can change and do my best to try to get better at them or fix them. And then having the wisdom to know the difference between the two, it's such a peace of mind. Hence it's called the Serenity Prayer. You're surrendering to God and letting Him take the wheel. And that brings confidence. That peace and that relief brings confidence into what you're doing, because you no longer have to feel like you have to control everything. You no longer have to feel like the end result is totally reliant on you. It's more based around the principle of just doing the best you can. If you can do the best you can, work as hard as you can at something, let go of it. Once you've done that, once you've put in the time that you think is necessary, let go of it. Let God figure out the rest. And so that's belief in God. Also, having belief in yourself is huge. And so if you have belief in yourself and your abilities, that could be, how skilled you are, how much talent you have that God gave you to start with. How much, we talked about the work as well. How much work have you put into something that ultimately allows you to believe you are able to achieve something? And so that's huge with your belief. So when you believe these things will work, when you believe that you can catch a ground ball because you've seen that works by working on certain mechanics in practice time after time, you now believe you can do that in the game. Right? When I would hit line drives up the middle in the batting cage, I believe that I could square the ball up, and that when that ball is coming in the game now, I believe I have the ability to do it because I've seen that I can do it, and there's a level of trust within that. And so, when you have trust in something, that's when you have true belief in it, and that's essentially what confidence is, right? Confidence is how much trust you have that something will work. But the deep root of it has got to be a belief in yourself and a belief in God. It's also a belief in others around us that help us, our coaches, our teammates, our parents, our peers, our friends. It's a belief that we have help. We have a community that's there to help us get to where we want to go. But when you start to do these things, these everyday things that keep building up your belief in yourself, it's huge. It's huge, and I'm telling you, it's going to transfer into lasting confidence that leaves an imprint and leaves a stain. And that's what we want at the end of the day. We want to believe in something so deeply that our confidence in it is a stain that cannot be removed. What I'm trying to do here is build a community full of faith-based individuals that also believe in God and believe that that's going to be ultimately the route to our success. It's going to be glorifying Him. It's going to be understanding we have belief in Him that it is attainable, it is achievable, and God wants us to have belief in Him. He wants us to rely and lean on Him when we're in those tough times, those stressful times, those times where there's a lot of pressure and they're very important. The verse Luke 12:48 says, "To whom much is given, much is required." And so He's giving us these things because He's requiring a lot out of us. He wants us to reap the benefits from it. And I think that's really important to understand as well. And so ask yourself this question: do you believe in God's plan? Are you doubting God's plan? And while I think we all can admit there's been times where we waver and we doubt throughout our life about what's going on, and maybe even the plan He has for us, or we lose sight of it, if anything else, we need to remember that He wants us to succeed. He wants us to be tested. He's going to test us, and then in those moments, He wants us to come back to Him and rely on Him. And so again, if you can remember that verse, to whom much is given, much is required. I believe He's giving all of us tons of skills and gifts and things that we can take and make something even greater of it. But He wants to be involved. He wants us to understand that we can't do these on our own, and that we need belief in ourselves and also in God together. And I think when you have that combination, that really leads to your best version of yourself, your most fulfilled self, and you start to put the more important things at the top of the priority list. You don't put the results first, you put the belief at the top. You put in some of the other things we talked about, like how much work and effort you're putting into in the previous videos. There's other things on this list that really should be our top priority. And so I'll wrap it up with that. Have belief in yourself, have belief in God, belief in His plan, and deep down in who you are. And it relates to the other videos as well, because when you're putting in the time and the effort and the work and getting more experiences, which are all the things we've covered so far, you'll start to have more belief in yourself, and you'll believe in God's plan as well.